Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading an Arlecchino accessory by me. So let's get into it. Healing took time. That was the first lesson. It wasn't just your body, bruised and stitched up and bandaged. It was your spirit as well. The sleepless nights. The way you twinge at sudden movements. The ghost of fear that clung even when you smiled. Arlecchino saw all of it, and it set her blood on fire. You'd been back at the house for nearly 2 weeks when she let herself breathe again. Not completely, but just enough. And it was kind of weird to you, considering that these kinds of instances, or even worse, were not a new occurrence to the house. But what was new was Arlecchino being so personally involved. She still walked before you every morning. Every day she hovered at the infirmary door, watching you as you were checked up on. You hadn't gone back to your own quarters yet. Arlecchino said it was for convenience that you sleep in her own room. But the truth was simpler than that. She needed you close, within reach, alive and breathing and warm, in front of her. "You don't have to babysit me," he said one morning. Voice lighter now, stronger. She looked up from her spot beside your bed, one leg crossed over the other, arms folded. "And you don't have to keep pretending you're fine." You opened your mouth to argue, but the way she tilted her head, just lightly, shut you up. Arlecchino rose, stepping closer, and you felt the weight of her gaze scan you over. Her fingers brushed your cheek, and you leaned into it, instinctively. "You're stubborn," she murmured. So they say. I had a good teacher, though." That coaxed the ghost of a smile from her, one of the rare ones, and painfully tender when directed only at you. Later, she sat at her desk, trying to read reports, but unable to focus completely. Her eyes kept drifting to the door that led to your room. You were probably sleeping again, still recovering from the fever that had clung to you like a second skin in those first few days. She hated the way it had scared her. It was irrational almost. Arlecchino was the knave, the father of this house. She had carved her name with fear into the bones of traitors and painted victory with blood and fire. She did not flinch. She didn't beg. But when you collapsed in her arms, unconscious and on the brink of death, something inside her had broken. Quietly. And you hadn't told anyone. Not even you. Because what terrified her wasn't even the possibility of your death. It was the depth of what she felt. The weight of that need. The fact that she needed you more than air itself. She remembered sitting at your bedside, gripping your limp hand in hers, whispering things she never thought herself capable of. Promises, please. "Come back. Just come back and I'll make sure you never have to go alone again." She had pleaded then. And she will never forget it, even though you will never know. You were walking again by the 3rd week, slower, limping slightly, but walking. And the first time you crossed the training yard on your own, Arlecchino nearly dragged you back inside. She watched from the steps, arms folded, an unreadable expression on her face. When you looked up and waved, she gave you a short nod, but you saw the tightness in her jaw, the way she was barely holding herself back. That night, she didn't sleep again. You heard her pacing beyond the wall. You got up, and she stood by the fireplace, hands clasped behind her back. When she heard you, she didn't turn. You should be resting. You walked up behind her, leaning your weight against her back. And so should you. It's quite late. Sound stretched between you. And then her voice. Every night I dreamed it was a body to bring back. Not you. Just a pile of cloth and blood. And I'd have to bury it. And pretend I could live with that. You didn't speak. You didn't know how to. You just slipped your arms around her waist. It's alright, Arlecchino. I'm safe, and I'm here right now. You don't need to think about it any longer. You say. And for a long time, she didn't move. Her care came in quiet acts. She didn't smother, didn't hover much, but every moment was intentional. She made sure the fire in your room never died, that you stayed warm during the cold winter. She ensured the cooks prepared your meals exactly the way you liked, even if she had to sit there quest like a threat. She replaced your damaged coat with a new one, custom fit. She gave you space, but never let you feel alone. And one evening you found her sitting on the balcony outside her room. You joined her, and she glanced at you, then looked forward again. You should be inside. And so should you. She scoffed under her breath. You're getting cheeky again. That's a good sign. You looked at her, and you smiled softly, kissing her cheek. You still haven't talked like you would have wanted. You didn't know how to approach the topic. But there would be no way to talk about it fully. Talking with Arlecchino was not easy. I know I scared you. And I got scared too, you know? But I'm here now. And I know more than anything that no matter what happens to me, you'll find me. I'll have you. And I'll never give up either. I don't want you to think about that. It's not happening again. There's no point in dwelling on it. You sigh softly. And you nod before heading back inside. Little did you know that what she meant was quite literal.